let's have some reminders from last session. With no bones made for young Nicholas, as he's not listened to the recording, so we just kind of assume he's up to date. Coayah is covered in poo. Poo hair. Coatlmox has sent his 2 guys ahead. Coatlmox has 2 guys on the ground with him who he hasn't checked on. Maccy and 1 squad mate are currently falling into a trap floor in the spooky castle. Maccy distrusts the walls in the castle. Kuzco is waiting for his marines to stop killing everyone. Kuzco doesn't know what to do next. Coayah and Co are currently eating brains. Captain Carpy, in this case I suppose because Carpy's schlorped out back again, that would be Captain Nazeem, wants to start mandatory cross-training ballet classes.
What?
It was a whole thing. Sense in context. Ewan will read the XP Advance /rank/fame rules. I actually did read these rules.
What?
Not because I remembered them, but because I was listening back to the recording yesterday and going, oh yeah, fuck, I haven't done that at all. So when it got to the reminder section, I went, I've got a couple of hours left in the evening, I'll just read the rest of the rules. And the net result of me reading the rules is I vaguely think I understand them, and having done a little bit of like speedy napkin maths, I shouldn't be reducing your XP from 75 to 50, assuming that we stick vaguely, like, give or take 3 sessions per campaign within our par of 10 sessions. I should, in fact, be just upping you to 100, and then you're fine.
Huzzah.
What about fame? Because fame is a separate stat.
Yeah, but it's not related to rank, is fame.
What about back pay?
We're not back paying shit. Basically, next campaign onwards, I will just give you 100. But
I thought you said you were going to read the fame rules. I did a miss here because I just thought that we were doing.
Let me double check these reminders here. You want to read?
Yeah, we need fame to like.
Oh yeah, no, it does actually say you want to read the XP/advance/rank/fame rules. I read the advance and rank rules. I did not read the fame rules.
Fame rules, as far as I can understand them, are literally just what kind of stuff you can get in terms of gear.
Yeah,
like you can get better gear if you're more famous.
We're honestly a little bit less fucked about gear.
Yeah, we're in the legions. It's in 40k. It might be a relic blade, but at the moment they're still being made, and they're kind of handing them out to officers like candy.
My concern is about levels, like for being able to get the next rank of a skill and such.
Yeah, and we've sorted that. Is just next campaign on. So you're fine for the current ranking system. But next campaign onwards, I will give you 100 standard XP instead of 75. I was being overly suspicious with lowering it a bit. It's not completely irrelevant because it probably helps a little bit for the introduction to make you not like immediately super powerful. But basically, you'll reach the top rank of, if my calculations are correct, you will reach the top ranking in Deathwatch, which is not to say that you'll have bought everything, you'll just reach the ability to buy everything within your character class by about the same time the Horus Heresy starts. So, we're basically fine on that. This campaign...
And what rank are we right now?
You're still all rank 1. Rank 2 begins at, I want to say either 15 or 16k XP. You start at 13k XP before you spend anything, is what all of your other shit functionally adds up to.
Yeah, so you need to earn about 2.5. Was it 2?
You need to earn like 3k XP, I believe. Yeah. It's either 2k or 3k. You would need to check the rulebook. But, yeah, no, you're all rank 1 still. You'll probably be rank 2 by the end of this. It depends. If you really screw up your XP, if you like accomplish no plot goals, have no character development, and no one RPs well enough that anyone else compliments them on it, then yeah, you're not gonna get much at all. But I don't think that's actually even slightly a concern. If anything, the opposite is probably going to happen. So it shouldn't be an issue. Yes, so let's have a look. Who would like to go first?
I would like to go first to see what happens to my currently hurtling body.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Okay, that's fair. Let me just open up these character sheets real quick.
Also, I'm going to have to go and pick up some chicken at some point in the near future.
What, they're not even delivering?
Oh no, they're delivering it. Just it'd be sometime it's like 8:55 onwards. So I figure the quicker I get my stuff out of the way, the less I will interrupt other people when I have to go grab my food.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like you can just go pick it up from the door, right?
Yeah.
And I know where you live, but I just assume you live on like the famous roundabout near where you live. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's my mental visage.
About a 10-minute walk from it.
Fair dues.
My house is close enough to a major landmark that it was featured in Watch Dogs Legion, so that's pretty cool.
I still really want to play that. I heard Dirty Beach is in it, and I fucking love Dirty Beach, so...
It wouldn't surprise me, actually. It is weird how they've managed to successfully create a flat London.
Dirty Beach and the tunnel, the Waterloo Tunnel are both in it. It's like... There are 3 reasons I even give a shit about Watch Dogs London, is Dirty Beach, the Waterloo Tunnel, and...
What is Dirty Beach? Because Googling it isn't going to help.
Yeah, it's because it's not called Dirty Beach. Yeah, the beach beneath the Oxo Tower. It used to be the Firespin Beach, before quarantine times.
Okay.
And also fucking Yahtzee being the AI voice is also kind of hilarious.
Is he the AI voice? I thought he just wrote the lines.
No, he voiced it, I believe.
Oh.
I'm actually not 100%. Now that you've mentioned that, I doubt myself, but I'm pretty sure he voiced it.
We'll pace it for now.
Yeah, let's pace it for now. So, Maccy, you and I believe your grav gunner, your fellow grav gunner, in fact, were hurtling downwards through a trapdoor. Or, not a trapdoor specifically, but a floor that seemed to almost disappear the second you emerged onto it after having blasted through a wall with a bodily charge. You don't fall for that long, maybe 5-6 seconds. Certainly enough that the impact is thoroughly absorbed by your armour. By the time you hit the ground, you find yourself in a chamber not entirely unlike the corridor you just left, except with the roof thoroughly sealed up above you and your remaining squadmate, the unfortunate, left dangling from the walls above, his heavy bolter attached to him, thoroughly unreachable via Vox. The chamber you're in is not too large, but it's not that small either. Certainly bigger than some of the other rooms you've been in so far. You can see a modest amount of Fort St. Stannis' trademark rotten furniture scattered around the place, some shattered, some non-shattered. And in places where the brickwork is missing from the walls, the trademark pulsing, living silver metal seems to infuse at least certain areas of the castle. What do?
Can I see any doorways, any entrances or exits?
You actually cannot. In fact, as you scan around the room, it seems thoroughly closed off. There's no way to get in or out. It's almost like it was purpose-made.
The area where where there's no brickwork and just the silver, I'm going to put my hand on it, because it doesn't seem to interact with inorganic objects, if I remember rightly.
There's a couple of areas like that, varying size. What would you like, a larger one or a smaller one?
A larger one, please. I'm just going to poke a finger through, see if there's any resistance on the other side, if not.
As you advance towards it, your remaining battle brother pipes up. Brother Macuiltotec, Brother Lieutenant Macuiltotec, are you entirely positive you wish to do that?
I turn to him. I see, you know what? Yes, okay, I will take my hand back. Come here. Let's ready our weapons. We shall fire a concentrated beam at this spot and see if we can cause it to move.
He nods. Purge the Xenos.
Privately he thinks it's a wall, but okay, mate.
Sorry. Damn you,
I'm going to select my focus beam, and the wall has to make a -40 strength test.
The wall automatically wins strength checks. It's a wall.
Well, I just kind of want to see what happens if I gravity cannon this.
Well, you have gravity. Cannons before.
Suntight.
Sorry, I've just taken a heavy roll. Yes, you
Can't
have
tell.
gravity cannoned them before, and the reaction previously has been... It's taken a while, but you've managed to force your way through. Roll your damage.
So it's 1d10, and then target pinned automatically, I presume. 1d10, and then it takes that amount of, and then...
Yeah, 1d10 for damage, and then 1d10 plus X for damage, and then 1d10 for duration.
Yep, 2d10 for duration. And then I don't know if I have to roll that another 13 times, or if it's just 6 times 13.
I think 6 times 13. Do you do just 1d10 flat?
Once pinned, target takes 1d10 impact damage.
Okay, so just 1d10 flat.
Per round ignoring armor for 2d10 rounds.
Yeah, I remember the ignoring armor.
So so the first attack does 1d10.
So you did 6 damage ignoring armor for 13 rounds. Let me just... Oh.
And then once pinned, target takes...
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I don't know what the fuck happened there. It's really hot here, so my PC might be slightly struggling in the heat. Okay, so you did 6... I've got the fan pointed at it, I've upgraded a load of the fucking coolant systems, and I'm monitoring the temperature. Which is critical, but not, super critical. So that's, I guess, good.
For the relief of nuclear engineers everywhere.
Nuclear engineers are always a wee bit conservative, at least on paper.
So, fucking Tory nuclear engineers. So, 6 damage for 13 rounds. So I will also do for your guy, which is 1 damage. Oh, sorry, 2d10. That should be the second one. 1 damage for 14 rounds. Okay, between the two of you, you do just about manage to blast through the largest speck of silver wall. Or the largest gap of silver wall, rather, forming a not quite Space Marine-sized hole that you'll have a fairly limited time period to duck through.
I go to duck through first, and then but make sure he is as close behind me as possible.
He is
we are wearing clothes.
Super close behind you, but by the time you get through, you see him trying to duck after you, but the moment his arm comes through, the silvery substance has already closed around the portal, basically immediately, rapidly, leaving just about his first forearm through. You've got a microsecond to give him a direction, to either charge through or try and back up.
Back up.
Brother!
Back up and fire. We'll try and fire again.
Let me roll strength on his behalf. Actually, you want to roll a strength. Roll me a strength for him, Ollie.
Yep, sure. That'll be...
when you fuck with a Tomb World.
So this target is not a Tomb World, actually.
If that all gets chopped off, keep it.
So
yeah, definitely do keep it. You can probably reattach it, even if it does get chopped off.
Yeah, he passed that with several degrees of success. On the plus 20.
He fucking yanks his arm through the silver, and you get a brief glimpse of his helmet on the other side as he looks through at you, his eye slits narrowed in concern.
I'm going to bring up my gun immediately, so he knows exactly what I'm going to do, I think.
Yeah, he heard you over the squad vox, although even now he seems faint on the other end. Alright, roll for me.
Sure. So, then,
so that's 5 damage over 14 rounds. You subtract however much ammunition you've spent so far. I think this is the 3rd time you fired your gun inside the thing.
This is just cost 3. If it's in total. So I've already spent 1. One entire clip, so this is 2 extra.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget last week if you missed it.
No, I didn't. No.
Excellent, cool.
No, that last week we did so much, I think you just deducted me an entire clip.
I don't think I actually mentioned your ammo at all last week. I was just kind of trusting you to do it.
No,
I'm pretty sure. But also, I fully trust you to be managing your ammo, Ollie. I believe in you. It takes you longer than you'd like, maybe 20, 25 seconds, but you blast through. And on the other side, you can see nothing. a much smaller room. No trace of your battle brother. Before the silver begins to close up again, healing up like a scab that someone's fast-forwarded on. What do?
Do I have light around me?
It's low, but actually, yeah, as you scan the room, you struggle to identify exactly where it's coming from. There's glow globes, but the level of illumination in the room does not match the level of illumination that the glow globes are giving you.
Does the machine spirits in my armor, or I presume at this point it's just some sort of tactical tactical programs built into my armor.
Yeah.
Do they have any sort of offensive capability?
In that they're part of machine power armor, yes. Well, what are you looking for?
I'm wondering if I can just somehow interface my armor machine spirits with the silvery wall, and I don't know, see if I can like overwhelm the wall, or have the sheer insanity of my armor. And
you can invent tech heresy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's I wouldn't say it's necessarily strictly undoable, depending on the type of armor you've got, but I don't think you have the training or hardware to do that.
That's fair. I thought that might be the case. Do I have any... Can I get a logic test to see if anything has slipped by my thinking? Like, I had to give not a clue so much as potential other avenues.
I'm going to say I'm not going to charge you a logic test because I don't think anything has, and I think you're fully able to see that. You find yourself in a corridor pointing in one direction, and at the very end of it, in the dim distance, you can see what looks like a room similar to the chamber that you landed in.
Okay, I will walk down it then. I'm going to set up, I assume my helmet has... Well, it's recording anyway all the time, I think, right?
I think we said it was a chest cam, but yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to have... I'd like to have my chest cam, if possible, sort of overlaid in my vision, sort of in the top left corner or whatever. I want to check some things I'm walking forward. It's mainly just the time the video clip runs for compared to how long my internal body clock tells me I've been walking for. And
take use of a perception, please.
Sure thing. I don't have tech use trained. So that's minus 20. Would this be counted as an untrained skill because it's like a basic sort of armor function?
If you don't have it trained, then I would still say yes, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I didn't make that.
So you see what look to you like weird skips, but also your machine spirit, your machine essence is not... Recalcitrant is the wrong word, but it's not as cooperative as you would like it to be. You struggle to get the programs, even as you interface so directly with them through your black carapace, to really do what you want.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting 0 readings, but yeah, slight skipping is the best you can see. Like, there's something odd about the visualization, about the way you are registering what's happening around you. You proceed through the corridor, eventually emerging into a room that's actually significantly grander than you'd initially imagined. It's, for lack of a better word, a throne room. The walls are inlaid with fine mosaics, and you can see at the far end a throne. A silver throne, on which is laid a silvery corpse, the bone coated in pure, gleaming gunmetal grey. The mosaics around it depict all manner of things, actually. I think that's probably even worth a lore test. Maccy, I will take Age of Technology, please, I think. Age of Technology at a minus 30 over Intelligence or Perception, whichever's higher.
Perception, so that is... I only have that trained, so that's a 10 or under. Do I have anything in my gear that can help with certain things we do, though?
I don't know about anyone else, but this is all sounding slightly Necron-y to me.
Yeah.
Necrons aren't.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, they are.
Not in, the Silent King does not count.
That was 2 degrees of failure.
2 degrees of failure. Okay. You recognize extremely obvious visual cues, signs of people submitting to a silvery god, signs of alien monstrosities being evaporated, signs of war and bloodshed and conquests long past. But it's all just so much visual noise to you. There's nothing here that you haven't seen on at this late-ish juncture, 10 years in of the Great Crusade, a dozen times before. And world after world, this dictator or that monarch considers themselves the sole and inarguable reason that their people has made it through Old Night. You don't recognize much of what's before you in detail, but thematically you understand it. A person, a dictator, perhaps even just a monster, who considers themselves the arbitrator and sole defense of their people. Will do.
I'm going to approach the throne. You don't touch anything there. I'd like to walk around behind the throne and see if I can see any obvious technological sort of doodads on it. You know, anything that was like, you know, the standard pipe going to the back.
As you approach, your gen-enhanced senses immediately pick up on a number of extremely fine wires that seem to be rooted into the throne, the corpse, the walls. So many that you're actually slightly unsure how you missed them entering the room for the first time. When something sounds in your head.
Roll logic to see if anything sounds familiar about this story or this place.
Help me.
Are these thin filaments? Are they spread across the room, like across it, or are they attaching the skeleton to the to the chair?
Attaching the skeleton to the chair, attaching the skeleton to the walls. Now you look at them. Some of them run underneath places you've trod, even though a speedy reposition excuses you from standing on them currently.
Interesting. And the wires that I did tread on, are they still taunt? Are they still? Do they spring back to their natural shape?
They seem utterly unaffected, many of them inlaid into the floor itself, so fine they're just barely thicker than a human hair. Please!
Are there any exits or entrances out of the place?
None save the way you came.
Well, I am
almost as though a little voice at the back of your head suggests you were led here.
I am immediately bringing my gravity cannon to bear. Can I ascertain that the voice... I mean, logically, I feel like the voice is probably coming from hidden speakers, or something akin to that.
You do not hear this through your ears, you hear it through your mind, and although you are a thoroughly rational atheist skeptic per the standard dogma of the imperial truth, even at this early juncture, you have been educated on the subject of psychers, and though you're not necessarily that experienced with them, you are aware with the idea of telepathy as a fairly naturally occurring, if mysterious, phenomenon.
Well, I feel like I don't have much in the way of junctures here, other than I'm going to aim the gun at the, I aim the gun at the skeleton, and I don't turn my loud hailer on, but I speak through the grill. Reveal yourself, Spectre.
A voice sounds within the chamber, a voice that you hear through your ears. Welcome, worthy champion. This is the Hall of Proving. Do not believe him, says the voice in your mind. You are perhaps the finest specimen of humanity that I have ever seen. He lies. This castle, and I myself am thoroughly at your service, noble champion. He said the same to me, and 1,000 others. What do?
I am here at the Emperor's mighty command. You shall kneel and submit to me and the Imperium at large, and you shall let me go. For my patience grows thin, and my trigger finger weary.
I submit before the greatest conqueror this castle has ever seen. I submitted to me. He submitted to your predecessors. He submitted to us all. The corpse lies motionless, silver gleaming in the uncanny light.
Does my helmet or my suit have an Auspex built into it?
100% yes.
Can I run an Auspex scan on the skeleton and the silver, please?
Yeah, sure. What do you want to know?
Composition. Maybe, like, I don't know, anything odd about it. Is it actually silver? Is it something weird, I suppose?
You turn back almost immediately a result that is simultaneously mundane and thoroughly uncanny. It is 100% silver. There is no calcium, there's no trace of organic matter. Every single atom you are looking at is entirely through and through on that throne, that silver throne. Silver. This skeleton has either been utterly alchemically transmuted or was painstakingly crafted by someone with far, far too much time on their hands and odd priorities.
Okay. I'm going to, I speak out of the box. I shall not permit myself any foul Xenos to submit themselves to me. You shall be cleansed, and your dirty stain upon this planet removed.
Noble Lord, we are no Xenos. We are humble servants of the greatest species in the galaxy, and wish only to serve you in perpetuity. Perpetuity! Look at what perpetuity has done for me!
With my mind, I would like to ask a question to presumably the skeleton.
Sounds dangerously heretical, but go on.
It does, but I'm going to trust a human skeleton more than I trust a weird Xenos voice. A presumed Xenos voice, anyway.
The voice, the regular voice, is the one speaking aloud. The skeleton voice, as far as you understand things, is the one speaking in your mind.
Yeah, exactly. But the skeleton is a human skeleton, right?
It certainly looks human, but so would an Eldar skeleton.
Yeah, true. But also, this voice is now referring to itself as we, and the skeleton itself has had some things to say. I think, I suppose, in the direction of the skeleton. How were you imprisoned here?
And you're thinking this?
Yes.
Our body persisted. Our mind collapsed. Our disloyal subjects risen in revolt and treason.
How do I get out of here? Will destroying your skeleton put you at rest?
The skeleton simply lies motionless. Get out. There is no get out. Lie with me.
Oh, no, I won't.
And we shall at least die in spite.
I vox out to the voice in the room. Let me out.
At once, my lord. If I might request, there is a jewel within the skeleton's skull pad. Kindly affix it to your trophy casing, and we will be able to release you as soon as possible.
Inside his helmet, Macuiltotec raises an eyebrow. No. I aim the gravity cannon at the. Actually, no. I have my.
You do have a bolt pistol, yes. It's affixed to your shin, yeah. You 100% still have your sidearm.
Yep, I'm thinking as well, maybe a frag grenade. No, I'm just going to use my bolt pistol, and I'm going to aim a head, draw a bead on its head, and vaporize the skeleton. I would like to take several... Am I currently in a clear patch where there's no wires?
Yeah, you stepped into one the second you realised where they were, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so, I'm in a clear patch. What am I do? Yeah, I'm going to shoot the skeleton in the head.
As your
My logic being that, that it wants me to put on some strange Xenos artifacts so I can get out of here. That is like rule number one for, hey, you want to get your body taken over?
As your hand twitches, the voice sounds out within the room again. My lord, please, allow us to serve you. We wish only to be of use.
You are of no use to me, Xenos scum. To think that you can ask a human and be a servant to them, that is simply not allowed.
We were made by human hands and wish only to return to human hands.
And more likely brought to life by inhuman thoughts and prayers.
Right, I will...
Small point.
Yeah.
Ollie, we know about the silica animus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first thought.
I'm just slightly confused why you keep calling this thing Xenos when it's way more likely to be a silica animus.
It could be either. Honestly, to be fair, strictly, in the hierarchy of training things, it is, if anything, more sensible to say, yeah, it's probably Xenos, because... At least if it's Xenos, you're trained to deal with that. You are not trained to deal with abominable intelligences. That is a league above your pay grade. That is, ho fuck, bug out, we're gonna bomb it from orbit levels. Because, yeah.
My thinking is, right now, it did only just occur to me that it could also be Silica Animus. But also, I think it's a safer bet to assume it's Xenos for Maccy anyway. It's more of a safer bet.
Do you have the sleight of hand talent?
I think I might do, actually.
We have quick draw as well.
Say again? Yes,
sorry, quick draw is the one I was thinking of. My bad. Sleight of hand is a skill. Cool. In that case, I will take agility and a +0, please, Ollie.
Sure thing. 50 or below.
Let's see if Maccy can draw his gun quick enough.
1 degree of success.
Cool, 1 degree of success, you jammy fucker. Maccy, your gun is out and pointed at the skeleton almost immediately. The room begins to shake and rumble. You can hear things start to crack and morph above you. The ground becomes incredibly unstable. You have a microsecond to react. What do?
Microsecond to react. I am shooting that skull.
The skull is shot. A single bolt round leaves your pistol. The skull detonates. There's an almighty scream that cuts out almost the very second that it's begun to play, as the silver skeleton's skull detonates in a spray of metallic shards. And your Vox almost immediately regains everything. You start hearing immense amounts of traffic coming down from the Obsidian Heart. You start hearing automated distress signals coming from the rest of the members of your squad. You suddenly can place exactly where you are, some ways into the foothills of the mountain, way further in than you thought you were, and quite a bit under the roots of the Corral range. Your squad mate in the next room's friend or foe blinks on shortly behind you. He's so fucking close. And that scream which cut out then starts up again from a different room. What do?
Do I know which room it is?
It's off to the right. There's still a wall between you and it, but it's loud enough that you can hear it through the wall, even in the room you're in. Even as the room you're in, ceiling begins to give way. Bricks, silvery bricks falling from the sky.
Is the room that the scream's coming from also the room where my where my squad mate is?
No, he's to your rear, the room's to your right.
Cool. Okay, I immediately vox to the closest squad mate. And I assume now I'm going to ask him to bolt pistol the wall that separates us and see if he can make it way through to me.
There's a moment of, brother, you're on the... Yes, brother, Lieutenant, of course! You hear a few rhythmic explosions and the wall to your rear gives way. Your fellow squad mate blasts through almost immediately. Your remaining sub-squad mate, I guess, also appears on the Vox, crying out for the two of you. He's still, by his report, positioned above the floor you left him on. It's been a bare couple of minutes.
I instruct the entire squad who's above us to immediately regroup and make their way to the surface. We will catch up.
One by one, fairly rapidly over the next 5 to 10 seconds, squad confirmations come in. This leaves you basically underground with your remaining squad mate to care for. Let's take sorry.
I was going to say, I would like to run over. I'm motioning him to come over. We are both going to the wall where the screaming is coming from and blowing a hole in said wall.
Okay. Screaming begins to echo all out from the wall you blast into. You can hear a labyrinthine chamber of subscreams. Your almost perfect lineman's ear and preternatural senses register 6, 7, 8, 9, no, 8 specifically sub-screams coming from nearby rooms, but just 8. Nothing in the distance, nothing in this area. The cellar that you are trapped in is losing stability. Bricks are beginning to fall from the ceiling. The walls themselves shake and rumble, almost as though something was tearing them down.
So we have 12 crack grenades between us, and the screams are coming from separate rooms that we can see?
Separate rooms that you can make out vaguely, having an understanding of the obscene interior of these ruins. You can't strictly necessarily see them.
Okay. Can I... me and my team, can we strategically place crack grenades in such a way that they will blow up the room underneath?
I would say if you're willing to risk your lives, then certainly this is a thing that you can attempt. There's just no guarantee that both or either of you will get out of it.
For the Legion.
My boy! Okay.
End whatever is down here.
Clearly not comfortable with it. That's fair. I will take a ballistic skill check from yourself at a -20.
A -20?
Mm-hmm.
What's that? 24.
The -20 is for the difficulty of doing it all before the thing collapses on you. We'll do one for yourself and one for your squad mate.
Cool. Can I get the +10 for a standard attack, or
I don't think this is an attack situation. You're not attacking anything. You're doing, like, explosives planting. Technically, it should be a demolitions roll, but I feel it's unfair to ask you to make a demolitions roll here.
That's fair enough. Is there any chance I can use my heightened senses or dark sight?
It's lit, so I don't see how dark sight would apply. My gut feeling is that heightened senses wouldn't, but I'd be willing to be overridden. How does everyone who's not me or Ollie feel about heightened senses? Should this apply for, like, setting these charges?
Depends how you're doing it. If they need to be placed at specific points, then yes. If not, then you're just trying to see in low light.
It's more like there's a number of blocked off rooms that don't want either of them in, and they're trying to rush through and set the charges in those rooms in the place in those rooms that will stop the screaming, so I guess wherever it's loudest, and then rush the fuck out before they get buried.
Is it a hearing or a sight basement? Because I mean,
arguably both, but also
I'd say if it was hearing, then yes, because we have a special lineman's ear as our unique Legion thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
if
it's like
just
avoiding
sight,
danger,
then no.
Okay.
Well, they are screaming, and I am trying to figure out where the scream's coming from loudest, I suppose.
Carl and young Nicholas, what do you feel like?
Like, I feel, considering everything's coming down, right?
Yeah.
Like, being able to pinpoint that specific location amongst all of, like, the cracking and debris crashing would, like, definitely have some impact.
Alright, here's what I'll do for you in that case, Ollie, because it sounds like we're, like, reasonably in favour, but not 100%. I will say odds are evens, but if you fail to call it, but it's within the same 10, so like you say odds 63 or something, and then it's odds 64, then that's still fine. Does that seem fair to you? So like odds or evens, but balanced your way.
Okay, so I say odds no evens 50,
Yeah,
something like that.
and then it would be anything that starts with a 5 or whatever odds or evens you call. Let me get it set up so the luck doesn't fuck you. All right, I'm good to go. Whatever you call.
Odds no evens 50. Evens.
Yeah, evens. You win. Your lineman's ear kicks in. Your preternatural sense of where you are and positioning. Your ability to know exactly your stance in relation to everything else stands you in incredibly good stead. The second... Sorry?
Just there, I'd like to pause you because my food is literally just about to arrive, if that's alright, and you can move on to someone else?
Yeah, no, totally fair. We'll shift on someone. We're on you for like half hour at this point anyway.
No.
Who wants to go up next? Nazeem, you're still up on the ship.
I am.
And I've got per the Discord message, I've got a thing for you, Nazeem.
You got a thing for me?
I do have a thing for you. Now, I forget if we had it the week before last week, but there is currently a storm up over most of the western crescent. You've got sort of sludge storms over the Gralloch Range into the south, and just a regular rain/dust/snow storm to the north-ish of the Gralloch Range and north of the Gralloch Range.
Okay.
Basically, your air cover of the western crescent, the bit you're actively fighting over, everything that isn't Port Voron, in fact, even Port Voron, because you bombarded Defiance Aeroplex from orbit, is utterly fucked. Someone on the bridge messages you, letting you know one of your lieutenants amongst the Imperialis Armada, I guess, technically, part of what will eventually be the Navy. A craft, a lighter, is missing from the flight deck.
What?
Someone has taken, unarmed, but not one... like, the grade above civilian, whilst still being cripplingly civilian's worth of aeronautic craft, is unaccounted for. It seems to have disappeared.
Okay.
What do? If there's any other updates you would like about what's happened from last week, also, I realise we did a little bit of poking fun at the start of the session, but if there are any strategic updates you would like to be aware of, then I can also fill you in.
I had no real idea what's happened, so I guess we'll find out as we go. Is Michelcrow still being guarded? Is he accounted for?
Yes, I believe you left him under guard. Yeah, he's still under guard.
Yeah. Cool. And then the AdMech.
The Mechanicum are still not really responding to hails. They're still somewhat pissed with you over someone or other broke into their forge shrine.
But surveillance real quick, has anyone left their forge shrine and whatnot? Is anyone skulked around?
Not anyone more suspicious than you might imagine, I guess. There's been no one specifically leaving this forge shrine in a...
So we've just randomly lost one of our ships to someone.
You can check the pick feed on the flight decks for the record.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, looking at the video, you see a number of people covering their face, but transparently from within the ship, grabbing one of the lighters at a disused edge of the flight deck. One of the least well-maintained aerospace, in fact, craft. Their faces are obscured, but their uniforms are only partially hidden. I will take a speedy... God, what would this be? It's going to be a lore over perception check, I guess. Common law Imperium over perception, please. At a plus 20.
Is that including augmented...
that's not including your augments.
So I get augments as well, yeah? So net plus 40. So I needed 40, I need 78.
I'd be extremely surprised if you missed on a plus 4
Yeah.
61.
2 degrees of success. 2 DOS.
2 DOS. You recognize amongst the uniforms several Imperial Army troopers, but notably the uniform of an Imperial remembrancer. And there's only one of those aboard.
Is the ship entering or exiting the atmosphere? Is it in atmosphere or is it left to go into orbit?
It's neither exiting nor entering. It's in low orbit, maintaining a vague firing solution above Morotha. Can't see shit at the moment due to the storm. Yeah, just that. You're in low orbit over the world you're attacking.
I'd like to hail them and ask them what the hell they're doing.
Due to the storm, you can't see more than the lighter descending to the surface. No idea where it's gone.
Can we not comms them? Can we not contact them?
You can certainly comms them on the open Vox, but that will then register to the locals.
Do we not have a secure link to the craft as it's our craft?
Not over open radio. You can speak to it and not be overheard, but they'll be able to tell you're speaking to someone and potentially, probably, where they're from if they're any kind of competent. They can't necessarily decode the words involved or the way you beam the messages. They can decode. They can see where the beam is going.
I see.
Or at least the broad area it's directed.
Okay. Then this isn't normal, is it, at all? From remembrance, just to piss off.
They're supposed to request this type of thing from yourself.
I wouldn't put it past them, the bloody hippies.
Kill her!
He probably just wants to paint some war crimes. I'm sure it's fine.
That's what I'm thinking. But also, no, they couldn't be a spy. No, there's no way.
It's extremely unlikely that she's a spy. I suppose technically possible, but they'd have to really work at it.
What did they take with them?
Sorry?
What did they take off him?
A lighter and several Imperial Army troopers.
Say several. How many? 10?
3 to 4.
Maybe
3 to 4? That's
just
nothing.
maybe she's just lonely and missing her significant other back on Terra.
Possibly. Yeah, I'll let them go. I don't care. I make sure that any kind of passcodes or anything like that the remembrancer knows. Can I get a bead on the Imperial troops that went with her? What squad they come from?
No, they were definitely... You could see that they were clearly troopers. They were 100% obscuring their, insignia of rank and which exact thing they came from.
Okay, then. We'll ask for a roll call on all Imperial troopers.
Going to be slightly difficult as there's a shit ton down on the planet.
Yeah, well, anyone that wasn't deployed, I'm assuming their records on that, right?
Yes, they're just not 100%, unfortunately. It would give you, a list of suspicious candidates.
Yeah, we'll do that, and if anyone knows that someone is missing, that sort of thing. So, a roll call, and if anyone's missing that they know should be here, report it in.
Okay. What else are we up to?
Huh?
What else are we up to?
I'm saying, I dealt with the admech, sort of.
You decided to ignore the Mechanicum, but I don't know, that's dealing with them.
They decided to ignore me, so I blew up that shit.
You win this round.
How's the, it sounds like, Zelenos? Is it Zelenos?
Zelona?
Zelona has gone well. Is that right?
Not really. So...
Column A, little column B.
What happened was, beneath the cover of the storm, Kuzco's troops punched through to Zelona but were ambushed outside the city by a large force of Zalonan army troopers. At that point, through no real fault of his own other than some fucked rolls, Kuzco basically lost control of his Space Marines. So his Imperial Army troops were left surrounded by hostiles, and his Space Marines went from, like, professional soldiers to professional warriors, and just started immediately screaming skins for the Emperor, leapt out into the night, and began killing indiscriminately everyone who wasn't part of his initial squad, which is actually, I think, the majority of the company. So
I think 2 of my dudes joined them as well.
Yes, that's true. 2 of your dudes, in fact, yeah. So it's Zalona is probably fucked in the short term, but not in the way that you would like it to be. Not in like a control orderly, we have won this place. More in a, we unleashed a shit ton of berserk Space Marines under conditions that are cripplingly favourable to berserk Space Marines.
Okay. And Benji's boat plan?
Benji is currently, he and his squad. So this is out of character, because in character you're completely unaware. But out of character, they work their way into Marotha, into the sewers beneath Marotha, and then into a sewage treatment plant, where they're currently eating the brains of Marothan civil servants in an attempt to find out, I think it was some sewer-related profile of a vital building, a power plant, I believe, that they could then work into to start trying to cause rolling blackouts within Marotha and take down the void shields.
And it's like Coatlmox. Did your subterranean efforts pay off?
It's going better than expected at the moment. I Beybladed myself around with my servo arm and killed some guys, and 2 of my Marines are still standing. I took out of a total of 4. Haven't checked on the other 2 yet, but some of them are down.
He's lost between 0 and 2 Marines, but yeah, his other 2 Marines made it into the city, and he's like sat comatose, almost comatose, in a subway fucking tube station with dozens to hundreds of injured locals, because he was down there, just as he says, Beyblading his way around, using his servo arm to flick himself around the landscape until he cripplingly maimed people with his own weighty bulk.
Whole thing.
The Defiance Aeroplex has been taken care of, hasn't it? So that's looking good.
You nuked it from, well, not nuked, sorry. You orbitally bombarded it into nothingness.
Yep.
It was lance fire from low orbit. It's substantially worse than a nuke. Like,
no.
for the Aeroplex.
I mean,
nukes spread out. The Aeroplex was utterly annihilated by precision lance fire. Like, I'm not saying that nukes are less powerful, I'm just saying lances are more accurate and thus destroy more stuff in a close area.
Yeah, but lances also don't irradiate.
Depends on the lance.
No, a plasma lance by default, unless it's really shitty Rakgol bullshit, does not irradiate.
That's what I mean.
Rakgol I've barely even known at this point in time. Sorry, carry on, Nicholas. What are we up to?
Okay. I'm just assessing damages and whatnot. Zaragot is pacified, isn't it, basically?
Zaragot. Yes. Zaragot is, thoroughly pacified at this point.
How much of the Imperial Army do we still have on the ship?
on the ship? Quite a bit. Army groups Alpha, Beta, Gamma, and Epsilon. Army Group Delta...
Oh, Epsilon didn't go down, okay.
Army Group Delta is the only one you deployed. Army Group Delta, that said, is currently at 83% casualties. So
oh my god.
They took very heavy hits. The issue is when Kuzco's Marines went off the leash, they weren't just killing hostiles, they were skinning everyone within range. Skins for the Emperor is not discriminate. It's, the Emperor does not care from whence the skin flows. All that matters is that it flows.
Okay.
The whole thing.
Yeah, he's corn light.
Whoa. He ain't no vegetable. I mean, not yet.
I'd like to... That's Vox 2 people. Let's Fox, the Kuzco, and also our, I use this term lightly, our allies in Hoira, or Hoiran Principality.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to get back from both of them individually, how their assaults are going, and if they need any aid.
Kuzco, should we do you first? How is your assault going?
Greetings, brother captain. I've successfully entered the confines of Salona. Currently, forces are wiping out native resistance.
And
Doing well?
at least as far as you can see through your ship's auspex, that sounds vaguely on point. You can tell broadly where his army is. They certainly seem to be either mostly outside or just about inside the outer reaches of Salona. It's probably going fine.
Okay. Do you require any aid?
Aid, while not necessary, would be appreciated.
Screams in the background for you there, Kuzco. You make sure to be... you make sure to have them unheard over the Vox, but you hear someone desperately crying, "No, no, no, no!"
Yeah, just in the back of my mind, it's like, fuck, fuck, fuck.
There are literally dozens of blood-crazed, skin-thirsty Marines out there, flensing your allies, enemies, and local civilians. This is, with every moment that it goes on, doing incalculable damage to the structure of the Imperial Truth, and its ability to seem even slightly genuine on this world. These fucking younglings won't stop killing people even when you ask them nicely.
Yeah, I have a bad history with that, don't I?
You do, you do. Fortunately, none of this is audible over the Vox.
Nazeem is not in the mood for if he found out.
At least Nazeem has good news from fucking Telefulis Desig. It sounds like Kuzco's got everything under control outside of Salona. Army Group Delta seems to be doing okay.
Okay, very well. Brother Kuzco. Best of luck. I'd like to contact the Hoiran Principality now.
Alright, what do you want to know?
How is their attack on... I think they're doing Port... is it Veront?
Yeah, Port Voron. It's not going well. It's not going well at all, in fact. They're basically fucked. The issue they're having is that Port Voron is almost totally designed to resist an attack from Hoirantis, and this is an attack from Hoirantis. So, Port Voron is doing excessively well at repelling it. It has been slightly thrown off kilter by the destruction of the Defiance Aeroplex, which has completely reduced Port Voron's aerial superiority. But it's also completely knocked out the Hoiran's ability to field flyers, because there's this colossal dust storm where you're orbitally bombarded a desert over the northeastern crescent, meaning that basically no one's putting flyers in the air, so it's just the Port Voron Navy and naval guns versus the Hoiran Principality Navy and naval guns, and occasional abortive attempts to make a landing, commando-wise or otherwise, that just isn't going anywhere because Port Voron's fortified specifically against the Hoiran Principality. What do?
Okay. I like to, 500. I see, that's what they are. Do you have veterans? Where are the veterans?
Define veterans.
We had some veteran Imperial Army forces.
Yes, let me have a double check. So a good deal of your veterans were in Delta, but you did have more. They were...
Urban Warfare, Two Specialists.
Army Group Gamma. So you don't have access to Army Group... So Army Group Alpha was the Alkis Grenadiers. Mostly inexperienced, but there's a good few of them. Army Group Beta was your Mechanicum forces. who are currently not supporting you. Army Group Delta were deployed to the surface and have taken ridiculously heavy casualties. They were also fairly elite urban warfare specialists. Kind of perfect for this, actually. Army Group Epsilon was your conscripts. Willing, less willing, and otherwise. Taken from worlds you've stopped off at or conquered. And Army Group Gamma were the veteran corps of the Alkis Grenadiers. What do?
Let's, we still have Alpha and Beta left. Let's play,
you don't
Not
have
deploy
Beta.
is the
Yeah,
problem.
Beta won't deploy. They refuse to.
oh, sorry, yeah. We have them, but they're useless.
You have Alpha, Alpha, Gamma, and Epsilon. But as Benji mentions, deploying is difficult due to the fucking storm. Not impossible, I should strain, but like, if Marotha gets a wind of what you're doing, it's going to get really bloody really quickly because your fighters are not equipped for in-atmosphere fighting mid-storm. And neither are theirs, but they're also much better equipped for in-atmosphere fighting.
I'm thinking if we can deploy into the dust cloud that's being kicked up at the Defiance Aeroplex, we could deploy Epsilon to go in backdoor port Verona. Or Vorant.
So
you want to go in the back door, eh?
as I say, you can try
Can't
it.
deploy orbital troops into a dust storm. That is like asking to lose 80% of them.
So, like, if it works, you'll be fine. If it doesn't, you have no way of withdrawing them, and they'll be the easiest pickings for the locals. So it's basically going to be a crapshoot. Either it'll be a totally okay, and you'll lose a few troops to the massive dust storm, or you will take damn near 100% casualties.
Can I use it as cover rather than deploying directly into it so they pass through it to get to the port Veront?
That is kind of deploying directly into it, I would say. Like, if it was smaller, you could maybe use it as cover, but it's not. It's blanketing.
Imagine nuclear winter.
Yeah, like, basically everything that isn't as far south as Talisho and some of the refineries above Littling Osset. Consider it blanketed by storm.
I see.
You threw up this colossal fucking storm with your orbital bombardment, and it'll take a day or 3 to clear. It'll go, but not for a little while.
We'll deploy half of Epsilon.
Okay. I will take, I think, Tactica Imperial, Law Principia Bellicosa, rather, over Intelligence is probably fair. At deploying into a dust cloud with, I'm going to give you a minus 25.
Okay, can I foresight this? I have 10 minutes to plan it and whatnot.
You do
That's
have
fair.
10 minutes to plan it, that's fair. You cheesy son of a bitch you are.
I'd argue that's generous for a minus 25.
I'm being very generous, yes, that is
It'd be
generous. That's
super generous.
yeah.
Cool. I don't think I have anything else.
I'm trying to be nice. I don't want to just, like, completely fuck you, young Nicholas, basically.
So
Get 100, though.
foresight. I know, right? And I must.
Don't turn into me. Like, I lost to the dudes on my 97.
Yeah, go on,
Don't
Cal.
you have to roll for foresight?
So that was minus 25, wasn't it?
I don't think you.
With foresight, that means that's minus 15.
Let me just double
which
check
means-
this, but at least as far as young Nicholas has described it for me, foresight is just you have 10 minutes, and if so, you can get a plus 10.
Oh yeah, on your next test.
Wait,
It's core rules 118,
118.
but I will fake that because I need a 40.
118, 118.
I think.
Just having a look at foresight real quick.
Unknown trade, yeah. So I'll fake that. Nice, got it. That's 2 degrees of success.
Wait, sorry, did you fate it twice?
Once.
Once. What was the 61?
The 61 was... it was something earlier. Can't remember what.
Right. Foresight. Here we go. No, you don't have to roll for foresight. It's just you can gain a +10 to intelligence tests only. That's fucking been missed out, but this was an int test. But you've been taking them on willpower, you son of a bitch.
You're right, I have. Whoops.
Nicholas, I love you. You always do this. You read like 2/3 of a thing in amazing detail.
I'm sure I read all of it, and I just didn't note it down when I put it on my character sheet.
I have no comments to make. I hope you scorn yourself for your laxity. I wouldn't mind if this was a first offence, but it's about a 12th. So here's where we are.
There we go. Character sheet updated.
What's your DOS?
2.
2.
I like Nick's interpretation of the rules because it has a certain wild card element to it.
It does. Like, I can't deny that it's always entertaining, but I don't know why I ever believe him, because he always interprets rules in his own favour, and you go back and read that it says, but you can't do specifically the thing young Nicholas wants to do. And I don't get my own gullibility in never calling him on this, because it's...
For a second, we get to see how the game would be if the rules were more open to interpretation, and I like that.
I'll kill you dead.
You know what happens when the rules are open to interpretation? It's called Dark Heresy Season 1, and we don't want to go back to that hell.
Look,
why not? That was fucking amazing.
Punch the Warehouse.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
No, I had a lot of fun with it, I just don't want to do it again.
Why? Grenade rules are fine.
Were they? We spent like 3 weeks on that fucking ambush
It was
setup.
so good, I loved it.
It was a good story.
Yeah, you can throw that corpse. Grenade rules.
It was a good...
This needs to kill 3 people.
It was a good story once. I just don't want it to be every hostage scenario.
Yeah, but just some of them would be nice.
Yeah, no,
right?
I'm not saying
just some of them.
I'm not saying Creed's never thrown a hostage to the point of fatality in subsequent times. That's definitely happened. But never to the same degree, and never, like, fucking up multiple weeks of planning by doing so. So, I've completely forgotten. What was your DOS? 2. 2 DOS. Epsilon are deployed to the surface. The dust storm provides frustratingly decent cover, honestly. It's still problematic, but what it really does do is disguise the amount of losses, the amount of craft that you're sending down to the surface, which means the amount of aircraft that the Morothans are able to put up in atmosphere in order to counteract you is comparatively minimal. Those that they do have relatively free reign, but they're not that able to freely maneuver, and they have a fairly limited time frame that they're working on. Oh, I seem to have moved Epsilon. Which army group did you actually want to move?
Epsilon.
Oh, it was Epsilon.
Half. Half of Epsilon.
The conscripts.
Yes.
Cool. I will take a D10 plus 10. Epsilon takes... Oh, sorry, I should probably fraction it. Half of Epsilon. Epsilon takes pretty heavy casualties as they hit the surface. Between the dust, the enemy flyers, etc., it's pretty bad. That said, the vast majority, almost 2/3 of the flyers that you send down, do make it to the surface. And... Oh, commissars haven't been invented yet. The only people that have them are Space Marines. And with their disciplined masters ahead of them, the conscripts are forced towards Port Voront, immediately beginning to ease things up for the Hoyrans, deploying in great masses of tens, then actually even half of them with only 20% casualties, slightly less than. You're dealing with a couple of 100,000, a few thousand at least, maybe more towards the 1 million marks worth of soldiers. Enough that they can really distract Port Voront and its garrison.
It's funny because, like, a million-sized army is bigger than many domestic armies now. Anyway, how did we get them down there, flyers-wise? Because, like, 18 flyers carried 1 million people?
Where are you getting 18 flyers from?
That was the one you can't touch 10.
That was how many died percentage.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it was percentage how many died. So the majority of your conscripts, I believe, were stored on your mass conveyor. I guess, overly
It's only
grand.
because they abstracting
Because
out.
I'm overly grand with this. Oh yeah, obviously never mats it out. That's just bad form. But I tend to scale up the amount of troops involved in standard deployments in 40k. Troop sizes and ship sizes I like to scale up. So because like even Ullanor, which was canonically one of the largest crusades, only had like shy of 20 million army troopers involved, which is
That really, like,
compare it to World War II. It's not that many.
yeah.
But
I was gonna say.
So I have always every headcanon is valid. Most headcanons are valid. Looking at you, Matt Ward, circa 2015. But I personally prefer much larger armies and much killier elite troops compared to smaller armies and less killier elite troops.
If you look at like the population of a single hive, like, I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, that's not ever mattered out, because at one point, one hive on one planet held more people in the entirety of the Tau species, and somehow the Tau were ascendant over that sector. You're like, do not do maths with 40k. It doesn't work.
It's because people get into like the zero sum.
Myself, I feel like I distracted you there.
Okay, that's fair. But hive demographics are incredibly fascinating, and people get very much into it. Like, but what if the hive was completely militarized? You have to bear in mind, fucking Ascalon in Dark Heresy has more population than the entire rest of the sector put together. And there's a reason why, even though it's economically super vital, it doesn't dominate over, say, Juno. And it's because hives are weird, insular, dysfunctional bodies that are just barely able to sustain themselves half the time.
Yeah, it'd be like saying, why doesn't Earth have a single militaristic body and we're all unified?
Exactly. It's 100% that, except bearing in mind that hives tend to have significantly higher populations than current. Like, modern day Earth is 7 million people. Dasolian Primus in Dark Heresy 2E is in excess of 300 billion people. It's insanely huge. It's definitely on the higher end of the hive scale for 40k, but yeah, people assume hives are operating at 100% efficiency, and they're really not. None of them, even slightly.
Pace.
Yeah, we'll pace. So, I believe that's Nazeem's actions, probably. That's his half-hour-ish allocated. Kuzco, should we check in on you? What's going on in Zelona? You've had a brief vox-in from your commander, from Captain Nazeem. He seems thoroughly unaware of your fuck-up.
That's great. Could I be cheeky and ask if we could do Chris first?
Yeah,
or
sure.
Or anyone else?
Yeah, sure. Creed, are you back from food?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll do, in that case, either of the Morothans. Coayah or Coatlmox. Who prefers to go first?
Yeah.
Don't mind. Either works.
Coatlmox, in that case. I guess we left you, like, you just about forced the enemy in the tube station to disengage, leaving their injured and dead and dying down with you. And your two fallen brethren. What do?
Yeah, I'd like to check on my Marine brothers.
Speedy check of your friend and foe. Call odds or evens for me.
Evens.
Evens. Yeah, both of them are alive. They're both fairly severely injured, though. They've been bombarded with lasfire, and one of his hearts is gone. The other one just took too many shots in the throat. And though it's clotted over, like, his brain is very slowly suffocating from lack of oxygen.
Alright. Our suits have some sort of stasis mode thing we can put people in. Do they?
It's not the suits, it's the Marines themselves, and as I recall, unless you pre-prepare it, you can't go into it. So you need to...
You can also go into the Susan membrane, but you will need to be woken up specifically, and you will be you will be dead until you are woken
Like
by a
emergency
specific
hibernation.
you will need to be woken by a specialist apothecary.
Let me double check, because I feel like, unless I'm misremembering, the Susan does. I think you need to.
I'm sure, the way I read it. It's been reading
okay, sorry. The space room may voluntarily enter a form of suspended animation. They must meditate for 1d5 rounds. also applies automatically if you're knocked unconscious by critical damage. Yes, it is difficult to get you out of it, but actually, yes, you can enter it automatically.
Alright. I suggest these brothers try and crawl their way to cover and engage their status. Or mark them for medic retrieval when able.
So meanwhile, in Salona, your friend or foe pings activation Kuzco as two brothers many hundreds of kilometers from your current location flag up as needing urgent medical attention due to damage-induced stasis.
I'm face palming pretty hard right now.
Yeah, you've got no Vox contact with Maccy. Sorry, not with Maccy, with Coatlmox, but I guess the friend or foe is being pinged up via the Obsidian Heart in low orbit. What else do Coatlmox, as your brothers kind of acknowledge your order and then keel over and just suspend?
I was going to try and steal the limbs, but I'm not really sure how to go about it, so I'll just kind of proceed out the subway. My plan will be to try and get out of the subway and then enter a tallish looking building and try and clamber my way to the top of it, get a look around.
Principia Bellicosa over intelligence at a +20, please.
Is that our law thing?
Yeah.
I'll take that. Alright. What was the modifier?
+20.
+20. I'll be 2 failures.
You can see absolutely nothing wrong with crawling out of this prepared position into another, presumably utterly empty and undefended position.
Wonderful.
And so, servo arm ahead of you, begin dragging yourself up the stairs. It's only when you reach the very top of the subway entrance, you get to the ground level of the tube, that the las fire begins pouring towards you.
I see. I shall begin throwing myself upwards. I just want to try and barrel through their defences and out the other side.
It's not that difficult for you to throw yourself above ground. The defences are not like at the entrance to the tube station. It's more like they're arrayed around the tube station, as though they'd kind of assume that you'd try to get out this way. I guess I'll take strength, just a flat strength, at a -10, please. Is that a squeak failure? That looks like a squeak failure.
That's a pass, because he'd be using the servo arm strength, which is 75.
I thought it was 70.
75.
Oh, yeah, it's 75.
Is it 75?
It is 75.
Let's have a look at Discord. I'm pretty sure I snipped this. Scroll up. It is indeed 75. Yeah. Sorry, I really badly need to take my contact lenses out. These are fucking killing my eyes. I will be 2 seconds.
Oh. And then unnatural strength makes that 3 successes.
I'm not entirely sure you get unnatural strength on your servo arm.
It has its own unnatural strength.
Does it?
Yeah. Don't worry. Got it covered.
Mechanicum.
I might have a servo harness thing.
And then you can get the Machinator Array, which is a talent, and you can get other things, and you end up not being able to swim, and you lose the ability to walk, basically. But my god, can you have more weapons on you?
Fine, just get, like, industrial strength floaties.
You basically end up... I think the exact wording is you just walk along the bottom of, like, rivers. So I love the idea of just, as long as you can have some sort of apparatus to breathe underwater, you're probably good.
You're a space marine, you can't drown in water.
Exactly.
So you straight up can't drown.
I'm just imagining a space marine with one of those ducky rubber rings, like paddling across.
Yeah.
You can drown if you really try, but you have to really fucking try. Alright, vision restored. What are we doing?
Right, yeah, so with that, that'd be 3 successes with the unnatural.
You fling yourself bodily above ground, out onto the street, lasfire pinging off of your form, scoring deep grooves by volume alone in the yellow and pink disgusting armour of your legion. The fire continues to pour your way, and you are forced to fling yourself down a nearby alley for temporary reprieve, hoping against hope that they will not follow you here. You have a single, fairly powerful limb, and are currently trapped behind enemy lines and above ground in an extremely hostile environment. What do to evade utter death, Coatlmox?
Can I see where planes are landing and coming from?
Not really. You're in a cramped alley in a city, so your vision's not great.
Not all the buildings near me.
3 full stories?
How close together are the buildings?
Fairly close.
I'd like to get to the top floor of the building and attempt roof hopping.
We've got climb in this system, right? Let's have a look. We do indeed! Fuck, you're even trained in it. Okay, I will take climb at a -20, please. Over strength.
Oh. That'll be 1 successo into 3 successo.
You fucking son of a bitch! With single arm, you grab, latching onto a wall, and hurl yourself upwards, latching onto another wall, and hurl yourself upwards, latching up onto another wall, and hurl yourself upwards, landing on a roof. Lads' shots begin to ping through the alley beneath you as people try to register where you've gone. You have a slight lead on the locals, having limblessly propelled yourself to the rooftops. An entire city's worth of uneven surfaces stretching out before you in damn near every direction. What do, Coatlmox?
Can't see any planes coming and going yet.
Scrutiny over perception at a -10. Fuck me. DOS?
Scrutiny over perception.
Is this a site-based test?
It is indeed.
2.
Remember, you get pluses because you're site-based test because you're a space marine.
Oh,
Creates adventures it's like a sub storyline that like everything else is going on, and then it's just gonna join back up with everyone else at some point, and it's really convenient. Like, if you weren't there, like, everything would have failed.
So...
Apart from me, who's currently infiltrating the whole place and just getting on with the mission.
You didn't even bring your armour, you idiot.
Net DOS, Coatlmox, currently wearing his armour.
That'd be 3, I believe, if it's +10 for the site-based thing.
You get a +10 from your body and a +10 from your armour. So it's
4.
a net +20 for sight, for general perception senses. Your armour doesn't give you taste, but...
That'll be 4 then.
Which reminds me, actually, the armour for gear does more than just brain stuff, which I didn't really realise. I guess just for everyone's record, you can get better by eating non-brain bits of people, though I kind of prefer the brain thing. So...
Chow down, Creed. Chow down.
4, not on the buildings, though. 4, these DNA. 4 DOS. You spot to the due slight northeast an immense amount of planes landing and taking off. There's a huge amount of aeronautic vessels coming and going from that one direction. A slew of others from other directions also, mostly west, north, northwest, and north. But the major amount, the steady stream, seems to go east. Going mostly east and south, but going to your northeast. you can see them slowing down, and the slight blips as they, at the minimum possible speed, quietly force their way through a void shield. Or do.
I'll give us detailed location details as I can over our company box.
I think everyone knows where the Aeroplex is. It's not that you couldn't get a bead on it. You can see where all the planes are going. It's more that...
In case my two loose Marines are anywhere alive.
That's fair. Alright, you start broadcasting.
Then I'd like to see if I can plot a route along the rooftops.
Navigate surface at a plus. You got a 40, plus 15. Sorry, you got a 40. You got 4 degrees of success.
Oh. Be like 3 degrees of success. Oh.
You can indeed plot a route, and much to my fucking reluctance, begin wigging your way there at speed.
I like to think the arm is spinning so fast his body never touches the ground. It's just like, bam, up in the air, bam. Really powering forwards.
Yeah, kangaroo style. Shall we speedily check in with Maccy, as I think we had his action on pause for a while?
Sure. I'm down with that.
What are we up to, Maccy?
So I believe, as I paused you, you were saying that I had succeeded on the roll. I got the evens. I called evens. And I think...
Oh yeah, so your perception does count, I think was the agreement there then.
Was it so perception count, so 20, so plus 20 then, because it's... Or was it plus 10?
No,
plus 20 for the helmet. And,
yeah, plus 10 for the helmet, plus 10 for your body. And you're wearing both apply if the roll applies, which it does per the results of the odds or evens. So, yes.
Was it perception or ballistic skill at...
I think I said ballistic skill.
Okay, no worries. 55 plus 20, 75
I
or
would say
under.
it was ballistic skill or heavy minus, right? Because you were under a big time pressure.
Yeah, minus 20, yeah.
Yeah, it was either a minus 20 or a minus 30. Does anyone else remember? No, okay, we'll say minus 20 then.
Yeah, you sure?
Yeah, it's fine. No reason to, like, overfuck you.
So, flat, 55 under.
Fail it.
Alright, make it. 2 degrees of success.
You and your remaining brother shoulder barge your way through wall after wall, the silver seeming to scream and trill as you blast through each in turn, locate the source of the largest and most vocal screaming, and then plant a crack grenade and move on. 8 screams in total. Roll me a d6, please, Ollie.
Yeah.
5, an extremely fair result. Okay, if you lose 5 crack grenades, you've got 1 remaining, and your other squad mate gets to 3 of them.
Get 3 of them, so that's 4 total then. Cool.
Wait,
yeah.
Sorry, what do you mean 4 total?
You said he had 3, right? But he hadn't. I thought you said I thought you said he had 3 of them.
Yeah, you use 5 crack grenades, your squad mate uses 3 crack grenades.
I hear you now. Cool, okay, cool.
That was my bad, that wasn't clear. Cat, don't rub yourself on the microphone, that's rude.
Yep. You can't stop me.
No, you can rub yourself on the microphone, it's the cat I'm telling not to.
I know, but also, you don't know what I was doing right then. Cool, okay, so what result does that give me? If we've used 5, do I need to roll again so I can try and get the other remaining 3?
Yeah, I believe it was only 8 voices, unless anyone wishes to correct me.
Sorry, so 5 plus 3 is 8, yeah, of course.
As the last voice falls silent, the castle seems to finally lose stability. Its grand gamble gone. Your lineman's ear tells you you're located perhaps 4 or 5 stories towards the bottom, but it also lets you position yourself broadly with not totally where you were when you left the transport, but gives you some semblance of idea. It's hyperactivity locating ish where you feel you are on the world. You have a broad idea of roughly where to go, at the very least, at least where to end up, in order to end up somewhat safe. What do?
Yeah, I will start running and shoulder barging my way, timing it with my compatriot, so we both manage to get through as quickly as possible.
Navigate surface over strength at a -10, please.
Sure.
Incorporating the assist from your compatriot.
And -10, okay? And I only have that trained, so it's 10. Can I roll this off? Only roll off intelligence.
I said strength.
Oh, strength. Oh, amazing. Okay, so
Is it sight-based? Does he get bonus for his armor and stuff?
I don't think this is sight-based, really. This is more like frantic, rushing instinct.
Would it be strength-based? So plus 20 to all strength-based tests?
Yes.
Okay, so net plus 10, which would put me at 60 or under. That's only 2 degrees of failure. I am going to re-roll it. I'm going to spend my 1 fate point to re-roll that, I think. Yeah, I'm happy.
Son of a bitch. DOS?
That was 60 or under, so 5.
So fucking close to getting you to lose a Marine. You, with your single sidekick, good old Middling Nicholas, in tow. Middling Nicholas is a vital member of Havoc Squad. His instinct for chaos is just bar none. No one trends towards chaos as much as Middling Nicholas.
I like to think that his creative understanding of how the weapon works has actually attributed a lot to how we function as a team.
Exactly. Like, he's a vital part of Havoc Squad, this Middling Nicholas.
Good old Middling Nicholas.
And with him in tow, never quite letting the novitiate lag too far behind you, you thrust your way through corridor after corridor, stairway after stairway, crumbling chamber after crumbling chamber, blasting out of the citadel until you arrive, gasping within your helmet, out onto the surface far above, the castle collapsing all around you, in the distance seeing several members of your squad and throwing yourself through collapsing wings and rooms until you reach them in this relatively open courtyard, the castle simply crumbling all around you. It's, for lack of a better term, life force drained, or indeed murdered.
Yeah, so I kind of killed a castle, guys. Can't say that, can you, Nick?
With a bolter. Well done.
Yeah, right?
The sergeant...
What about getting incredible kills with just a bolter?
Aren't you glad I deployed to the hills?
Bolt pistol. The sergeant looks at you. Brother Lieutenant, what happened here?
Some foul corruption ruled the castle and its walls. The silvery substance you may have come across appears to have been some extension of whatever foul things inhabited this place. I killed it. Single shot. Bolt pistol.
The sergeant scoffs. Then we should abandon it as quickly as possible and bombard the site from orbit.
I clap the hand of Middling Nicholas, clap the shoulder of Middling Nicholas, and this fine young specimen, with the help of his crack grenades, we surely would not have finished it off entirely. Yes, I agree. To the hills. I shall vox up for a Stormbird.
It's bare minutes before you see the signature entry jets of your Stormbird far above. Which brings us to a good point to spin on. I don't know how much time we've really got left, because I was a bit late to sesh, so we could probably either do Coayah or Kuzco. Who would like to go?
Coayah. Oh.
Yeah, Carl.
Not me.
Not you?
No.
I don't think Benji's done a huge amount today.
We're not getting any plot-relevant stuff done today, so we might as well do Carl.
Oh, really? Really? No.
We don't want to. Does anyone else want to go?
I mean, it sounds like neither of them want to go, so alright, if you're both giving up your goes, then I'll throw it back up.
I'll go if Carl doesn't want to. I was just saying there's not really much point, to be honest.
I actively do not want to right now.
Alright, that's fair. What do you want to be getting up to then, Coayah? I believe you and your squad had just started eating the brains of the civil servants and assorted office workers, and indeed maintenance workers, in the sewage treatment plant you'd forced your way into. What were you hoping to get out of this consumption of human grey matter?
Information on the various layouts of the sewer networks, and in particular the conjunction of said sewer layouts and the power grid network, any kind of special interactions, relay stations, power plants, anywhere we could actively knock out. And a way to get to there without being detected.
Flashes of imagery and sensation. Less concrete details than you might like, but more than a few. It's not so much a list of places you could attack, a sort of index of vulnerable stations, way stations, and more a specific nexus, a prime power plant, something that provides, if not the majority of the electricity for Marotha, then certainly a good deal of it, and somewhere through which a fair amount of these cables, vital cables, are routed. Somewhere not too far from here, in more or less the centre of the city, an Archaeotech power plant, something keeping the assorted Marothan void shields aloft. Something with, at least as far as the memories recently and temporarily implanted in your brain are concerned, a fairly fragile sewer structure. Something quite prone to sinkholes, and the instinctive knowledge of a route to get there. Between images pieced together by yourself and your squad, you have a surprisingly comprehensive understanding. What do?
Alright, in which case I'm going to divide the squad into two halves. I will take 5 Marines, clean ourselves off so we do not smell, and look to infiltrate further into the city, looking for military and civilian leadership. I will then order the 5 Marines who have, which we will determine now, the best knowledge gained from these workers of the layout of this power plant. They will be ordered to head to the power plant, disable it if they can, destroy it if they must, but bring the shields down. As soon as they are done there, exfiltrate back through the sewers to this point here, clean yourself off, and exfiltrate the city.
And which group will you be going with?
I will be going with the ones to take out the leadership.
Okay.
Can I use command to give them any bonuses to set out my plan?
Yeah, I will take command over intelligence to the other squad, please.
Okay. That is 3 degrees of success.
The other squad, led by their sergeant, sounds thoroughly confident. We will make it done, my lord. We will show you what true professionalism looks like. Skins for the Emperor!
Yes. Remember, all casualties authorized.
His non-power armoured head nods, flicking a tiny piece of what passes for sweet corn under the local crop cycles. All casualties authorized. And with that, they plunge deep into the poo vats. What are you after in terms of seeking out military and civilian leadership? What is your rationale there? What are you hoping for?
Our rationale is we're going to clean ourselves off and we're going to start exfiltrating throughout the city. Our aim is to try and identify, either through grabbing people and eating their brains, or just, looking and scouting ahead like professionals, likely areas of civilian and military leadership. As soon as the power goes down and the city is plunged into chaos, we will attack these areas, get inside, grab the civilian and military leadership, and hold them basically at gunpoint and ransom, forcing a surrender.
So the latter stages of that plan make sense. The earlier stage, do research and eat people until you come across vital information. That's the bit that I think is going to be...
It's not particularly vital information, it's installations. I wouldn't say Whitehall... The location of Whitehall is not particularly vital information, it's quite well known.
Yeah, but also remember, you don't just get everything within a person's head. You can't, eat someone and then you know all of their pub trivia. You get vaguely things they were good at, things that were important to them, or things that were in their recent memory. So, in order to get,
I imagine there's a fair few soldiers around Marotha who could probably be grabbed from various dark alleyways and hauled to their slightly crunchy doom.
Alright, I do love the phrase slightly crunchy doom, but especially as someone who's in the fucking military, I don't think most soldiers are thinking, yeah, the location of Downing Street is number 10, and I must guard number 10 Downing Street whilst on patrol in Portsmouth. It's
No, but they'll presumably have locations and or orders from their immediate superiors, who would have locations and orders from their immediate superiors. I will kill as
so
many...
you're going to work your way up the chain. Okay.
I will kill as many people as I have to.
If you finish this as a fucking Dragon Ball Z quote, I'm going to be so mad at you. Alright, okay, no, I fully understand then. Alright, so you're going to murder your way up the chain until you find someone who does know the information that you want to eat. Is that... I'm following the process. Okay, cool, that makes sense. That is doable. Not humane, not speedy. Doable, though, yes.
And it's going to become far more easy and speedy when the power goes out and the city is plunged into chaos.
I will take silent move, I guess, apparently, over fucking...
Should I not try rolling concealment to try and remove the smell as much as I can?
Do we have concealment?
We have concealment as a skill.
What the fuck is this fucking... Oh my gods.
It's Dark Heresy 1.5.
Fucking 1E is weird.
We've got disguise as well.
We've got disguise, concealment, and silent move, but no athletics.
You know what I mean, like...
I'm so mad. I'm so much madder than I should be. What the fuck?
Wrangling. Wrangling is a thing.
Corrals as well.
I low-key miss wrangling from 2E, right? Like, wrangling, carouse, even blather. There's reasons for all these things to exist. Silent move, concealment, and fucking swim, but no athletics. That's bullshit. That's utter bullshit. But I guess we live in bullshit land now, so let's do some bullshit things.
I like contortionist. I think the idea of having a contortionist space marine is, for some reason, just immensely funny to me.
It's the idea that it comes as part of standard training. Fucking imagine Marnius Calgar doing yoga.
It's just like...
So, Coayah. I guess concealment over perception to see how much you still stank. You and your squad. +0. Let's see what your negative on your next roll is going to be.
I will fight that.
Oh, psychic phenomena, though.
Yeah, well... that is a part of... 1 degree.
88 down to 46. Son of a bitch. Okay. You and your squad are thoroughly well equipped to scrub the poo from your beaks.
As well as... we're in a processing plant, right?
Yeah.
Processing plants would necessarily have a place to clean off after a shift.
You are correct. Yes. Probably should have given you a plus on that one. So I guess we'll just say it's more emphatic than it might otherwise have been. You are thoroughly cleansed of poo. So, for your brain-hopping escapades, I guess I'll take... do we have an appropriate thing? Scrutiny over weapon skill, please. I'm just going to give you a +0. I would give more difficulties, but they're not expecting this line of attack, and you don't smell too much like poo.
That is 1 degree of success.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, it is 2.
I have 55 weapon skill. I'm actually very good at fighting. I'm just a professional.
I'm a professional, damn it.
Coayah, you've set your squad a very clear, emphatic, and goals-orientated solution. You're going to eat as many brains as you have to understand exactly where the centre of government for Marotha is, and though it takes you the better part of the morning and a good deal of the afternoon, you eventually stomach full to almost bursting with human grey matter. Grok, broadly, where the local seat of government is, a minor-ish palace that you wouldn't have called in a million years. It's hardly lacking in facilities, but it's also not that small. Out in a sleepy suburb. It's relatively lightly guarded considering, but it's still got very obviously like dozens of guards scattered around the relevant access points, what seem to be some hastily thrown up AA platforms, and presumably, from the look of guardhouses and a few overly conspicuous nearby safe houses, hundreds to maybe 1,000 to 2,000 local soldiers within immediate and obvious recall. What do?
I don't have my armor, so I can't go full Night Lord.
Curiously, your armor is in town. It's just currently... I suppose that was hours ago, but yeah, hours ago it was bunny hopping its way towards the fucking Aeroplex.
You say this place is incredibly heavily guarded.
Yeah, like, your veteran eyes tell you that even though it looks like it's only got a few dozen guards, maybe 120 in total, somewhere around there, like a dozen, you can see a number of fairly conspicuous safe houses which doubtless contain maybe a few hundred troops a pop. This could easily be anywhere between just shy of 1,000 guards and north of 2,000. You're looking at a fairly substantially guarded place, but the guards are at least trying to be somewhat subtle. They're not immediately on call, they'd just be there within seconds of you doing anything. But seconds can be a long time.
In which case, I would like to... I presume there are other facilities around this that are less heavily guarded, that aren't perhaps as important. Did I get any information on cultural sites within Rotha?
I would say probably a few. It's a fairly big city. What are you after?
I'm going to burn them the fuck down.
I would say you are Principia Bellicosed enough to realise that whilst that would doubtless divert guards, it's unlikely to divert guards guarding their head of state and whatever other...
I don't need... at this point, I'm not going for the head of state. At this point, I'm going for maximum... I'm going for... To borrow a phrase... Let's cause some chaos.
Yeah, boy.
I should never have let you hang out with Ollie. He's a bad influence.
But yes, basically at this point, I'm not going to be able to get to the head of state without better weapons or armor, which I can't get. So my options at this point are wait for the power to go down and start mass campaigns of basically fear and terror. Then the Morothans will be forced to a surrender. It's like, oh god, our void shield network is out. Oh god, they're in the city. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Like, we're finding random guards pulled out of nowhere and nailed to doorways and stuff like that.
Okay, so in that case, that's fair. But let's check in with a couple of other people, I think, just before the end of session, because I want to get the timeline clear. Coatlmox, what's your objective when you reach the Aeroplex?
I'm going to scout it for a real long time. Figure out how they're fueling the planes. If they're keeping fuel in a particular location, we'll have to use a particular device to fuel them up. And look similarly with ammo and reloading.
Yeah, your friend or foe tells you that the Marines you sent ahead seem to have gotten slightly bogged down in fighting somewhere to the some ways away from here, and that the Marines you left behind they're being carted off somewhere, presumably a lab or something for dissection. Cool. You can see a fuel depot after being here for like an hour or so and observing. There's a few of these scattered around, but they've also got one chief fuel depot that seems to be the main hub. What do?
Can I attempt to stealth? Get within the compound where this fuel is stored?
Sure. Move silently over perception, I guess. at a -10 for your lack of
Fucking
limbs.
10? He's got no limb.
Yeah, but they're not really expecting it.
No, but he's got full armor on. He's got my full armor on, so he's got 4 empty limbs clanging around the whole time.
Yeah, it's also like an airport operating at maximum possible capacity and has been for some days.
And he weighs over a ton, and he's clanging around.
No, he's
only method of
100%
transport.
super
It's
loud.
a hop.
He's
If you just threw a car down the road, people would hear that shit.
2 degrees of failure anyway. So.
Yeah, but also like
I'm pretty sure we get a natural -10 to silent move as well.
yeah, I believe that's from the armor. Which is partially accounted for what Benji's talking about. Like, I appreciate the criticism, but I would also say this is everyone at that airport being, at this point, methed up to the eyeballs in order to stay awake. If you'll remember, Marotha has been winning the air war. Marotha's not winning the air war by dint of the fact that they're better. Marotha is killing themselves to win the fucking air war, because it's the only thing that's been going well for them.
I mean, if I was that messed up and that tired and I saw a nugget man with a mechanical arm, like, waving himself around, I think I would just be, like, at the point of hallucination.
Yeah, like, at that point, that's appropriation, because that's just ludicrous otherwise.
Right, you kind of see that and you're like, I can't tell anyone I saw that, otherwise I'm going to get put somewhere.
I mean, to an extent, certainly yes, but yeah, the reason you meth up that much is so that you can not be functionally tired. You'll still express symptoms of it, but you will be able to continue operating as though you're just ordinary awake, even as it fucking kills you. I forget what we were doing. 2 doff there, did you say, Coatlmox?
Yes.
You are busting into the main fuel depot when you hear a cry. Ew, that sounded like someone with big jangly arms. Enemy! As a local guardsman, for lack of a better term, begins to raise the alarm, having seen you try to bust in through the roof. What did?
So I just punch my way in.
Yeah, what's your goal?
I'm trying to figure out how to disable the fuel without immediately killing myself.
I am likewise curious.
But I'm struggling to think of a way.
Have you got any sort
Maybe,
of...
can I, try and split a fuel line somewhere inside, let it trail out, and then try and create a spark at the other end, and fling myself in the opposite direction?
You could fling yourself in the other direction and create a spark at the same time by slamming your mechanical arm down on some concrete.
I would say that's probably a fairly precision operation.
They look cool as fuck.
Either of those are precision operations to my mind.
Especially if you get some air and the explosion blasts you away slightly and you use that propulsion to escape.
Yeah, and you don't look behind. That's the most important part.
Oh, naturally. Yeah.
So, what role would you be hoping for here, Cread? Because I'm a bit sceptical about giving you that with 1 limb to work with.
I use my scholastic tech knowledge to figure out a nice efficient way of trailing fuel.
Alright, I will take you, son of a bitch. I'll take tech over fucking intelligence. Tech over agility. You've got 1 arm and a -20. Let's see if you pass. Don't get a 1. I'll be really embarrassed.
Fight it. Oh, that's much worse.
That's what happened to me.
Rip aside a ceiling panel. That was 4 doff, right? Plus.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Rip aside a ceiling panel and go careening into a colossal vat of open fuel, something that had been evidently refueling other things, soaking you in liquid promethium.
Well, that's cancer right there.
We check in with the party up above. Last 2 minutes of the session. Nazeem! What are we doing? Yeah, Nicholas?
He's muted. You're muted, Nick.
Ah, thank you. That's a fair question. Is Coatlmox out of comms?
No, Coatlmox is appearing on your comms. He's just appearing as Coayah.
I see. Okay. How is Epsilon doing?
Not great, but not too bad. They're definitely working as a distraction for Port of Rowan, but that was kind of fire and forget, I think. Under a minute for the record, if you want to do something.
Nothing major, no.
Okay, just leave everyone to it. It'll be fine. It's fine. It's all fine. I guess in that case, under a minute, flip back to Coatlmox, because I really want to get Coayah's storyline advanced. What's going on with you at the Aeroplex?
I don't suppose miraculously Coayah's grenades were on this armour.
That's not really
Yeah, I left
miraculously.
I left
they're
everything.
100% still on that armour. If anything,
That probably would have been a better first go-to.
yeah, I probably should have been. But let's be fair, you probably should have remembered that immediately.
Right, can I put a timer on one of these things?
I don't think they have that functionality. I think they're just grenades.
They don't, and you're currently in a vat of liquid.
Yeah, I'd like to very carefully raise myself out of the vat of Prometheus.
Into a room with like a dozen other guards looking at you terrified and all like, I wish to fire at him, but I don't want to explode type of a way.
Now let's everyone be reasonable. Drop out.
Every fucking guard raises their bloody las guns. Surrender and you will be spared, interloper.
He has been
If you don't run, you shall all explode. It's like a grenade from belt with the servo arm.
I'm sorry, it's a fucking servo arm. It is not equipped for that. I will take a fucking sleight of hand over agility.
Sleight of hand, is that basic? Can I do that? I think it is.
Violent sleight of hand is not basic as an advanced, I'm afraid.
Your fucking servo arm is not made for delicately plucking grenades, nor indeed, whilst we're on it, picking the pin out of a grenade.
Oh, can't he grab it with the servo arm and then pull it out with his teeth? Surely,
No, he's
right?
wearing a helmet.
He also lost all his teeth.
Yeah, also that, actually.
No
He
gums. He's
he
got
doesn't have a
spaceman gums.
No, I'm sorry, he doesn't have a tongue, let alone his fucking teeth.
Yeah, but you
Also,
like,
you cannot pull the pin of a grenade out with your gums.
The space marine, of course he can.
Look, I
feel
don't
like
care.
you can just
He may be
Wait
able to
till
spit
you're
acid, but he's down to his mouth nubbins. He can't do shit otherwise.
Is there like a shard on his
Well,
arm? That he...
trap the
I have a plan.
Alright, let's hear it.
Okay.
I'm going to take off my helmet with my servo arm and say, I surrender, and start slowly moving towards them while turning to face the
As you begin to take your helmet off, they cry, "Don't move!
He's farming.
Hands up, we'll send someone to take it off for you. Outlander scum.
Hands up.
course.
hand up.
Hands up, I
He's gonna
said!
spit acid at whoever
Hands
does.
up!
I'll be honest with you, there are no arms in here.
Your limbs all hang limp and dead. Speedy charm. +0. To convince them.
Idea is little nugget just thrown. Oh my god.
That is indeed a pass!
Now you
The guards look between themselves as even more begin to file into the fuel depot. There's maybe 24 of them in there now. They do look pretty dead. Jenkins, forwards! And young Nicholas Jenkins slowly moves towards you, cautiously, sweatily, pushing the glasses back up his face. Oh, golly gee, sir! He advances, begins to grip your helmet by either side. Oh, what? How do I get it off you?
I disengage it somehow.
Yeah, you've got black carapace, you can do that auto magically. Oh, that just lifts on. Oh my god, your face! Ah!
I would like to laser eye this man and then spring myself backwards with my servo arm and laser eye the fuel.
Yeah, you laser eye him right in the throat.
Martyrdom.
And young Nicholas Jenkins dies immediately as his neck explodes.
It's starting to sound like Nigel Thornberry.
More skeletal.
Yeah, and a Skeletor Thornberry combo. Anyway, sorry.
Nigel Thornberry was unapologetically glottal, and I appreciate that. Alright, and then you want to... I would charge
Jump
you.
backwards and shoot it.
I would charge you an edge as the lasers begin flying, but I don't think it's fair because worst case scenario, they hit you,
I think
and also the
more
vat
so
behind you.
the fact that you'll have set the promethium that you were covered in on fire the moment you killed young Nicholas Jenkins.
Or that would
Because
be-
again, you were covered in promethium.
He took his helmet off. His face wasn't covered in promethium.
No, but
Yeah.
the rest of him was, and promethium is
Been on fire
not
before.
exactly an
Promethium
untricked
is like
craft.
overly explodey. So I think the fairest thing here to do is I'm not going to ask you to roll damage, Creed. You were next to a giant, colossal vat of promethium that you've just exploded. Would you like to burn a fate to survive?
We got no chance of leaping away before it explodes.
From the fuel
No, last
depot that
No.
you just exploded, you do have a chance
Well, I
of
wanted to
leaping
leap
away.
and explode.
Your best case scenario for exploding it and getting away is that it blasts you into low orbit so high you're able to latch on to the obsidian heart. That is your getaway.
Does he not at least get like a toughness test or something?
No, I'm sorry. This is a colossal fuel depot and he's not
It's
even
the
wearing a
ground-
helmet. He's right
It's
next
ground
to
zero
Oh, no,
of an
yeah.
explosion
I
that
would-
will total most of this city.
Yeah.
Like, no, you
he's-
do not get a toughness
Yeah,
test to survive
no.
that.
The reason he's blowing this up is to take out an airport. Remember that.
Or burn a fate.
You said
Fucking
quietly.
laying down his life
left.
for the cause.
How many
Yeah, I
fate
did.
do you have left, Creed?
One now.
Nazeem,
Yeah.
just to finish off the session, Nazeem, you're in low orbit. You're surveying the reports coming in from Armor Group Epsilon. The things starting to filter in from Armor Group Delta, which are not really in line with what Kuzco told you. You still have no idea what's happening with Coayah, and Maccy has just radioed in from Fort St. Stannis. The ship's augury arrays are showing that something dramatic has happened there. The castle seems to be collapsing in on itself. I don't know, nonsense. When suddenly a good portion of Marotha Metroplexic detonates. And unrelatedly, there is a steady thunk against the hull.
For a brick, he flew pretty good.
Looking at the single viewpoint, the single viewpoint of the bridge of the Obsidian Heart, you see arm embedded in the meter-thick armor glass visor plate is what looks like the near-charred presumable corpse of Coatlmox.
This is where Nick turns on.
I radio someone was like, "Get that man inside now!
Kids
He's a
here.
war hero."
The idea of you just turning on the windshield wipers, though.
That's exactly what I was imagining.
Can we just open the window and just pull him inside?
I don't think you can open that window.
I don't think that window allows you to open it. I'm just going to quietly cross out the Marotha Metroplexic Chief Airport.
I do like the idea, though, that, like, I gotta say, if you have a giant window that you can open on the bridge of your starship, you have no forgiveness from me for all the trouble that would cause.
Yeah, he's not...
Space.
So, I think that's a natural point to end it. Slight overrun, but I think we all could see why. Any reminders for next session?
Get Coatlmox inside.
Fair. Anything else?
Coayah now has to deal with a city that's just been half blown up. But he's actually get help.
I'm currently waiting for the Stormbird, or is it Storm Raven, to finish descending?
Stormbird.
Oh, yeah, okay, so just about to jump onto the Stormbird.
Anything else?
Waiting for the berserkers to tire out.
With their blankie.
Might be a ways. Fair dues, though. So
It'll be a comatose. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, it's fair. I was just noting down a thing. Sorry, you were going to say?
Comatose Marines potentially been captured, and we have 2 potentially alive Marines wandering around Marotha.
2 comatose Marines potentially captured.
I'd like to add a note to that who captured Marines bit. Just like move to high priority, try to get back.
Fair. Anything else?
I'm going to go full 10th Plague of Egypt on Marotha.
Okay, I guess. Coayah wants to go full 10th Plague.
I know it's the frogs one, so that's why I'm googling what is the 10th plague.
10th Plague is to kill all firstborns, but I'm more thinking that I'm just going to grab anyone I can find and nail them to doorways.
The idea of you, like, just sending mutant frogs upon the city is also pretty funny, I won't lie.
So,
Are you Nurgle?
feedback. Anything you liked, anything... Yeah, because Nurgle's the Chaos God we've been going with for this fucking skins for the Emperor Legion. Anything you liked, anything you disliked, anything you'd like to see more of or less of next time.
Which is pretty fun.
More large explosions.
Not more
Maybe
large
like-
explosions. Like, I didn't want to cost Cread another fucking fate point in the same campaign, but he was
I
trying
did
to...
not say cause Creed to die. I just said more explosions.
I feel like you, in this case, you are, what's the word I'm looking for? Not abstained. You are forgiven. I think you are not at fault here for
Absolved.
Creed causing himself to lose to burn a fate point for the second time. I feel like dipping yourself in a vat of fuel and then laser eyeing it's all on you. It's all on Creed, I think.
It wasn't like because he took his helmet off. I wasn't even going to charge him for the laser eyes. It was then he was deliberately trying to cause an explosion before other people killed him. I get the rationale, but also like there was no way that wasn't going to immediately kill you. You were trying to blow up planes that were near-ish by. Oh, I'm calm. I
would say
like
we
yeah.
spent a lot of time this session on basically what amounted to side plot. We're not getting... We didn't spend a huge amount of time this session getting on with the actual plan and the objective of the campaign. Like, I understand Ollie went down into Port St. Stannis, but we did spend 45 minutes with him running around playing Scooby-Doo and then Sophie's Choice with a skeleton.
Yeah.
I think that's fine, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, we don't have to be always on.
It is, but we then spent half an hour. Nazeem got on with military stuff, but the first bit of it was working out why the remembrancer had suddenly jacked the ship and run off.
That would have been a more major plot point if Nazeem had given a shit, but his ultimate answer seemed to be entirely validly like, well, what's she gonna do? Radio home when I have the only astropath? Give a fuck.
I can see where Benji's coming from, to be fair. Like, it was a side plot heavy, but also I think this is the sort of session where we were tying up loose ends. So something tells me next session's going to be a little more focused.
I kind of get that. It's just we're in the middle of a planetary invasion, and half the command squad just weren't doing stuff related to the planetary invasion.
I think it's still going forward. They're not being detrimental to it, so it's fine. They're having some fun with some side plot. I think there's no reason that is bad in any way whatsoever.
I mean, also, to be fair, like, the Marotha Aeroplex has been destroyed. The fort has been destroyed. There is still the siege of Zelona going on, and there is still the siege of Port Vorant going on. Those are
technically a third objective was to remove any Xenos on the planet, so he's doing that.
It wasn't like the things we were doing today weren't necessarily going towards, I would say actually it was plot progression, just more roundabout.
Like, to my mind, Marotha is the sole bastion of actual resistance on the planet. If Marotha falls, Vorant and the rest of them will fall with it. And that's what we should be focusing on, not rummaging around in a basement.
So I think your equal part's not wrong, and also that was a thing that was already happening. I don't see feasibly what Maccy could have done to get out of it, and what could have been done to make that not feel like Maccy completely wasted last session if we hadn't given him some kind of narrative resolution.
Because I did like being down there. I was trying to make sure I wasn't going to be immediately killed by something, because that place was spooky AF. Yeah,
you were pretty close to it a number of times. That was not actually the way I thought it was going to go. I assumed Munchkin Ollie was going to go, a source of potential power that no one is witness to, you say?
How long have you been playing with me? I only go for sources of power that are immediately obvious to everyone, because I'm a big show-off like that.
That was 100% immediately obvious to everyone.
Yeah, what? You just said it wouldn't be immediately obvious to everyone.
It wouldn't be immediately obvious to anyone that you took it, but, like, how would the effects not be immediately obvious?
Oh, I mean, I have no idea what the effects would have been, so...
Very fair. Sorry, Carl.
Mind control.
Wow.
I enjoyed it. It was fun being down there. I realised it was taking a little while, which I can appreciate. Stories were taking too long, but I think Ewan did recognise that's why it was wrapped up the way it was.
Yeah, definitely feedback welcome, but it feels like I think we've got enough people on side to say that was, I think, about as much side plot room as we had, and then maybe a little bit more is the time we took to resolve that. But feedback's still welcome, certainly. Cool. Questions? Anything anyone was narratively unclear on in that session? Is everyone following the plot?
How many Space Marines? Oh, sorry, you go, Carl.
Oh no, I was just going to make a... quit.
Whip away.
There's a plot anymore?
There's a plot? Benji was just lamenting that you weren't following the plot too closely.
Like that, that's like, yeah.
How many Space Marines have we lost in total so far?
Actually dead, questionable. There's some dozens unaccounted for down in the siege near Zalona. You might maybe have lost one or two in the castle. I've given a fair few opportunities for you to lose people in Morotha, but you actually haven't yet. So I think you've got a number of casualties in terms of wounded. I don't think you've had any actual fatalities yet. But that's less being like, oh yeah, Marines are awesome, and more you've strategically put the army in the way of most of the casualty-causing sections.
As is tradition.
Yeah, I mean, that's to an extent what the army's there for, right? But, like, it's less Marine wank, the Marines are always going to win, and more like, the Marines are always going to win as long as someone else gets in the way of the fucking constant barrage of lethal shots.
Well, we did campaign for our first mission with the Iron Warriors. We learned.
Yeah, I mean, if you'll recall...
in chest, the pawns go first.
Yeah, totally. The Marines, in your first campaign over Venus, the Marines deployed entirely as fodder designed to soak up hits in the air and on the ground. Your attached Marine company took 100% fatalities in that campaign, as did many, actually.
We feel bad about those guys, though. Like, as we were flying away, just watching them get fucked.
It's fine, they made it to the spaceport and you just left them to die. That's alright. That's what warriors deserve, right?
They probably died very, very quickly. It's very hot on the surface.
Exactly.
Like 400 degrees.
Is it really a betrayal if you don't have that much time to contemplate being left to your doom?
Yeah, it's like a 1/6 betrayal, I think. Like, cool, but you're already dead anyway.
Exactly.
Like,
you all
your
heard
hair
it.
starting.
You can betray Maccy as much as you like, as long as he doesn't have that long to think it through.
Yeah, basically. I think the same goes for anyone. I would betray all of you if it only took a second to kill you as well.
It's only betrayal if you have ties, so I wouldn't be betraying anyone.
Oof.
That's the wrong campaign. You don't want me looking at that. Let's do some XP. Plot progression. Does anyone feel like he made any significant plot progression this session?
I feel like I destroyed a fort.
Most of Morotha blew up.
We should have aerial superiority soon.
A good point, yeah. Fuck you and your aeroplexes. Can't have planes, you've nowhere to land them, motherfuckers.
I like ballet.
They've got other minor airports, but yeah, no, without the major aeroplex, their last major aeroplex, they're pretty much fucked. Do we have any others on the... No, that's the last aeroplex in, like, Western Europe, on the Crescent, in fact. The only other major aeroplex in the Crescent is in Rastic's Mark, which is on your side.
They should land there, then we can take their planes.
I think Rastic...
I think they're...
Who's that?
And I was going to say, I think they're more likely, suicide the planes towards targets and eject out of them.
Yeah, maybe, actually, that's a good point. Yeah, how much damage can 2 tons of metal or several tens of tons of metal do that's flying at like supersonic speeds? Really
depends what they hit, because if it's a void shield, then not actually that much. Character development. Does anyone feel like you developed their characters, your characters, this session?
I feel like the call to power that happened there, that was a bit of development for Maccy, I think. The for the company sort of style thing. I would argue that was like wait,
development for Maccy, or is that development for Ollie not immediately grabbing the Spoop power?
I can see it for Maccy.
Column A, column B.
Yeah. I like the only spoop I like to grab is stuff I already know the stats of.
Yeah, I got to be honest. There's a certain element from like my perspective, at least, because like, I don't know what's going on inside the head of Maccy or anything like that. But previously, it seems to pretty much just be me blow things up. Now, like, and then it became like a call to duty, if that kind of makes sense.
Because you offer certain other people in this group power, invisible power, where no one else will see you take it. Young Nicholas or Cread would have been up that fucking spoop power in a shot. Either of them.
Like, give me limbs. Tiny metal limbs.
Give me psychic powers.
Fucking even Benji, depending on his mood and how frustrated he is with everyone else. The only other person I would say in the entire group who would never say yes to that would be Carl. And that's just because Carl generally doesn't take chances that he doesn't know the answers to.
I feel like if it had been presented slightly differently, as in, and this isn't a comment on your storytelling or how it came out, it's more... No, because it isn't. It's just like the way it was presented was kind of spooky.
No, it was 100% spooky. There was a skeleton and another maybe skeleton speaking to you.
Yeah. It was, so I think if it had been something like I came across the red jewel and I had some clear indication that it opened a door in front of me or something, or it caused something to happen, I would have held that shit in my hands.
I would never give you a puzzle solution like that, Ollie. I know you too well. I know you're like, it has the biggest hat. I will shoot it now. Instincts. And if I give you an obvious answer to a puzzle which might be spooked, it's gonna trip your fucking perimeter senses, and you'll go, this is a spooky thing in a spooky castle. I'm gonna shoot it preemptively, and if it dies, I will figure out another way to proceed. Nah.
Which, to be fair, is what happened this time, actually.
Yeah, well, I mean, exactly, right? I thought I was being clever by subtly avoiding that, and I just completely failed to avoid that. But yeah, I don't think being more overt would have stopped you from killing it. And not that killing it was necessarily a bad idea. It just means you don't get a load of cool power-ups. That's fine. That's fine. You don't want those. It's okay. Any other character development? Other than Maccy's development to suck?
To be fair, it was completely off screen, so it doesn't count, but in my mind, like, if I did do anything, which is the reason why I didn't, the only thing I could think of was practicing ballet while waiting for the berserkers to stop. But, like, I mean, that's just so y'all know what's happening next session.
Right, who ever told you you're the truest form of warrior monk?
Has anyone ever told you the truest form of Captain Ginyu?
Oh, God.
Battle yoga.
I knew it was a good thing to post the next time on Dragon Ball Z thing.
Battle yoga.
Anything? I just seen the fucking Creed's Marines when they fight him later moment. Anything else?
So I've learned more that my weak fleshy arms are weak and the arm of the Omnisire is strong.
Are you just armour now, with like pools of meat inside?
I'm fine.
Yeah, how long
need some new limbs?
I don't think it even has pools of flesh. It's just empty arm and leg armor.
It's like sloshing around in there.
A Marine, even a standard Marine, would be dead at this point. The thing that's keeping him alive is he has fate points to burn.
And it's the will of the Emperor. Sorry.
Does this mean that when your arm was flapping on the ground and pushing away, your legs and arms, like the armor was like flapping behind in the wind, or does that not exist anymore?
No,
see, in my mind, like there were no limbs on the armor.
Yeah,
that was initially how I was thinking it, but as Creed described it last session, there's been limbs on it, so it's been flapping around this whole time.
Flapping around like a dick in the wind.
So, Maccy's Call to Power, Kuzco's Battle Yoga, and something else. What's it? That doesn't matter too much. Excellence of roleplay. Does anyone feel like anyone else roleplay particularly well this session?
Oh shit. I thought Maccy interacting with Spoop voice and real voice, like that was quite a nice sort of duality between the situation.
Fair. I hope the voices were alright, by the way. I've obviously been talking a little bit today, so they're perhaps not my best. But...
Oh, no. Actually, a bit of feedback then. The voices were great. I really enjoyed them.
I've been listening to the Horus Heresy audiobooks of late, trying to like work my way through them, and I've fucked up so many things on the timeline at this point. But there's a moment in that where the voice actor is doing the voice for a Nurgle-like character, and like, holy fuck, I didn't think you could that easily do phlegmy on command, but Jesus Christ, can the man do it?
You just keep some in a pot, and then you put it in your mouth when you need to go phlegmy.
No, it's like, words cannot describe how fucking glottal it is. It's vile, which is perfect. It's genuinely a bit uncomfortable to listen to. Any other Excellence of Roleplay awards?
I think...
Oh, go on.
I was going to say, I enjoyed... I don't know how much of it was like pure roleplay, I suppose, but I did enjoy what sounded like Carl's quiet desperation of his character, trying to desperately ignore the carnage that's going on behind him. It wasn't so much like word roleplay, I could just more hear it in his voice. And I enjoyed Nick's captaincy. Just the you can tell the lack of fucks is starting to the supply of fucks is starting to dwindle.
Anything else?
I think Creed's I Surrender roleplay was very good.
I surrender my life to the Emperor!
Regarding Benji, I feel that there's something to be said for the way that Benji's character is not acting like he's completely covered in poo, and is accepting this. I don't know if that's technically roleplay, but it's definitely something I've picked up on.
He did take the time
He's not.
to cleanse
He cleaned himself.
Yeah, but I mean, before that, it was just that I'm having a shower and it's fine, I'm going to ignore this.
There's something very Space Marine about that, I feel. In our group, you get the two extremes of Space Marine. You get you get the Benji and you get the Creed, and then we all fall somewhere on that scale between them.
Yeah, as we said last week, it's the contrast between Super Warrior and Super Soldier.
So I make that out to be 145. Yes, 145 experience points for session number 12. 20 points of plot progression, blowing up the Marothan Metroplexic Aeroplex. 20 points of character development, Maccy's Call to Power and Kuzco's Battle Yoga. 30 points, Excellence of Roleplay, that's Maccy's interaction with Spoop Voice and Real Voice, Kuzco's Quiet Desperation, Nazeem's Irate Captaincy, and Creed's I Surrender Roleplay, plus 75 Standard. Which brings us on to everyone's favourite part of the session, it's the highlights. Benji, do you have any highlights for that session?
Dealing with a puppy quickly, just come back to me.
Fair. Oliver, Ding Dolliver, do you have any highlights for that session?
Spoop Castle tries to become my slave. Servant?
I'm amazed you didn't go with spooky, shiny skeletons.
Spooky, shiny castle skeletons.
Spoop Castle requests me to be Dom.
Yeah. The next one is I one-shot a castle with a bolt pistol.
Wow, it's not exactly one-shotting a planet, is it?
No one's one-shot a planet yet.
Yeah, they have.
Well, no, Nick only one-shot a city. Now, to be fair, that was the entire population on the planet, but that's not the planet itself.
That's 100% one-shotting the planet.
No, it's not.
If you fire one shot that kills everyone on the planet, you one-shot.
Yeah, that doesn't kill the planet, though, does it?
Yeah, it does. Planet dies.
No, you don't clearly understand.
Most exterminators don't blow up the planet; they just kill everything on and under it.
I must say this as well: the common parlance that we have been using this entire time, which everyone has sort of adopted, is Venus died.
Yeah.
Sort of implies the planet is dead.
Yeah.
Implies it spiritually died. But you know what? Nick is the expert on this. What do you think, Nick? Did you kill the planet or the population on it? You've killed more planets than any of us.
That is true. I now count in the twos.
Fine, okay, I see you side with you. That's fine.
I now count in the twos. Oh my god.
He had a nickel for every time he's killed a civilization. He'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot.
I think you'll find this side of the
In
Atlantic.
fact, I have 1.
This side of the Atlantic, he'd have 10 pence, not 2 nickels. Anywho,
The Coatlmox cavalcade of... No, the Coatlmox catapults cavalcade. Wait, is that the right word? Something like that.
Coatlmox catapults, it's a catastrophe.
Coatlmox's cavalcade of
that's
catapultry. Sorry.
Yes, that's the one. Thank you. That's what I meant.
I mean, catapultry isn't a word for the record, but
No.
it is funny. So,
Coatlmox catapult the calamity.
any other highlights, Ollie?
Laser eyes to the throat.
Jesus, yeah. Big Rip, young Nicholas.
Wasn't it Big Rip? What was his name?
I forget. It was young Nicholas something or other.
Oh, Nicholas Jenkins.
Thank you, young Nicholas
Big
Jenkins.
Rip Nick Jenk.
Yeah, good old Nick Jenk. Any other highlights, Ollie?
And that's me.
Cool. Young Nicholas, do you have any highlights for that session? Would you like us to come back to you?
I don't think I have any. They've all kind of been said already. That's the thing.
We can skip. Creed, do you have any highlights for that session?
The younglings are off skinning again.
Yeah, not wrong. Skins for the Emperor. Anything else?
This has developed very quickly.
Onwards into the dust storm.
I mean, fair. Anything else?
That's it.
Cool. Carl, do you have any highlights for that session?
Slightly crunchy doom.
Don't even remember that one. Anything else?
Related to the previous, eating your way up the food chain.
Oh, yeah, it was about skulls. That makes sense. Anything else?
King Kong Ninja Nugget.
Jesus. Anything else?
Middling Nick and Jenkins Nick.
Middling Nicholas Jenkins. Anything else?
And Subway nap time.
Swibway. Subway.
Blah blah.
Anything
When,
else?
like, middle of a combat zone. Don't worry, you guys just take a nap, it'll be fine. Right, I'm bailing.
I'll protect you at some point. Maybe.
I marked them for pick-up. It's on the medic now.
I mean, what's it going to be? Like he's half a continent away? It's fine. Any other highlights, Carl?
That's it for me. The others are noted.
Cool. Benji, do you have any highlights for that session?
Slaughter everywhere, and yet no one to heal.
I'm pretty sure, like, our company, or whatever you want to call it, Legion, I don't know. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only, like, apothecary.
In the
No,
company,
I know.
I
It's
think
just the
you
fact
are.
that your HUD was flashing up when you were hundreds of miles away from the 2 people who needed urgent medical attention.
Any other highlights, Benji?
No one gives a fuck about the remembrancer.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit, guys.
No one will remember you.
Yeah, no,
Apart from yourself.
the remembrancer.
Anything else? I mean, it's fine. Who's going to dob you in, right? Anything else, Benji?
I can think of one person.
What was them for doing our job?
Sorry, Benji.
No, I don't think I've got any more.
Okay, have I missed out anyone?
Was to,
I don't
Nicholas.
feel like I missed out anyone, so that seems fair. Cool. Thank you all for a very entertaining session number 12. I will see everyone I think next week? Yeah, I'll be back in time for next week. Yeah. See everyone next week for probably the finale to, if not the campaign, then close to the campaign, as we see, I suspect, the fall of the Marotha Metroplexic, if not necessarily the fall of Zelona.
And all it took was Cread losing 2 fate points.
Anyone got... Well, that's not my fault.
He didn't need to.
He didn't need to. He, if anything, almost chose to. Cread pushed, like, deliberately, colossally ahead.
I never said that he needed to. I just said Cread lost. I never implied. That sounds like a guilty conscience thing. You know?
Any final words for the recording?
Spoop.